So this driver circuit is operating in peak current control mode. What is peak current control mode? What is peak current control mode?
We will give the peak current as the reference to the
Mhm.
controller. We will give
We will
the
give
peak
the
current
source current of
Yeah,
So
correct.
peak inductor current is controlled to be constant in this.
Yeah, okay. Right. So let us see. This is the overall circuit for the DC application. We have also seen for AC applications where the DC is obtained from a input rectifier. So let us see how to design these different components like C1 and this R1 resistor and this capacitance and the value of this inductance and other components. So first, so before that, so we'll study this pin diagram and its characteristics. Okay, so this is the pin diagram for this HV9910B circuit. Okay. So here you can see, so this is the input. Okay, so this is the input. So what is the input range? We discussed in yesterday's class. What is the input range?
8 to 450 volts.
Yeah, so it is operating between 8 to 450 volts. Right. So there is an internal regulator here. So there is an internal regulator here. So that gives you an output voltage of this 7.5 volts. So that gives you an output of this 7.5 volts. Right? That gives you an output of this 7.5 volts. And this 7.5 volts is used to supply so all the other components in the chip. Right, all the other components like driver circuit and other this internal components, so that is supplied by this 7.5 supply. So usually across this VDC we will normally connect a small capacitor. Okay, so this is known as the bypass capacitor, so which is having low ESR value. We normally connect a small capacitor, so which is having low ESR values to provide a low impedance path for the high frequency currents of the output gate driver. It will provide a low impedance path for the high frequency current of the output gate driver. Okay, so you can see here, right? So here this is 2.2 microfarad, so 10 volts is connected. Normally 1 microfarad is sufficient. Okay, so for some applications it may require 2.5 microfarad, so therefore they connected 2.2 microfarad. So how this 10 volts is selected? So capacitor rating, so how this is 10 volts is selected? So because this output voltage is 7.5 volts, right? The nearest value of the capacitor is 10 volts, so therefore we selected 2.2 microfarad 10 volts capacitance. Okay, so it is a low. Okay. So it is a low ESR. This ESR value is low. So therefore, this normal capacitors, what we normally use, these electrolytic capacitors are not used. So instead of that, we normally use this polypropylene capacitors or ceramic capacitors. Okay, we don't use these electrolytic capacitors because electrolytic capacitors have a large ESR value. So therefore, we normally use polypropylene capacitors or ceramic capacitors. They have low ESR value. So this is about these two pins. Okay. So come to this current sense pin. Okay. So what is the use of this current sense pin? So it will continuously monitor the current, so that's flowing through the LED, right? So once it's excess the value, so what will happen? This LED will be means there is means the MOSFET will be operated, or the switch will be operated, or the current will be controlled inside this LED. So this is used to limit the current. So it is used to limit the current. Okay, so there are two internal settings are there. So two settings are there. So one is the internal setting. So here this current limit or this current sensor output, so that is limited to 250 millivolts. 250 millivolts. So here we are connected a resistor, right? So this current sense, we are connected a resistance. So that means the drop across this one may be limited to 0.25 volts. Okay, so that is limited to 0.25 volts, or you can actually connect some external resistance or whatever your choice is there. So then one is this 2.250 millivolts resistor. Sorry, 250 millivolts. So that is the voltage drop across the resistor. That is sense resistor. So here you can see it's an op amp, right? So what is this plus pin? What is this plus pin? It is inverted output or inverted input or non-inverted input. So this plus is the non-inverted input, right? So this current sense is given to these non-inverted inputs, right? So whereas the input, so that is given to the, or this preset, so that is given to the inverted input. So there are two presets. So one is this 250 millivolts. So that is one, and another one is some external input. It may be greater than 250 millivolts or less than maybe point. If for example, some cases, if 250 millivolts is high, in your case, maybe you can limit it to 0.2 volts. So maybe you can limit to 0.2 volts. So after that, we have this OR gate. So what should be the output of this one? So whichever the lower one, so that will be given, right? So whichever the lower one, so that is given. So in this case, it is 0.25 volts and this is 0.2 volts. Therefore, this preset is 0.2 volts only. Okay. So the outputs of these comparators are connected to this OR gate. After that, we have some blanking time is required, and it is given to this reset pin. Okay. So why it is given to this reset pin? So whenever this is exceeds that, right? So in that case, this RS flip-flop or this SR flip-flop need to be reset. Okay, clear? Generally, this is op amps, right? So response time of this op amps is very extremely fast. So it is in the range of 80 nanoseconds or 80 to 100 nanoseconds range. So these two are op amps, right? So its response time is too high. Okay. So we need to provide some blanking time. Okay. We need to provide some blanking time of about 150 to 250 nanoseconds. We need to provide a blanking time of 150 to 250 or 280 nanoseconds. So here, so why we need to provide this is, since we are using this peak current control, right? So what is the disadvantage with this peak current control? So we have some limitations are there, right? So what is the limitation in terms of this current? So that is turn on spikes. Turn on spikes. So meaning is, so whenever it is on, right? So the current waveform, for example, at this point it is on, right? So there is some small spike or some spike we can see, right? So the disadvantage with this spike is sometimes, okay? So sometimes during this period, because this is operating at extremely faster rate, so that means during this period, so it is assumed that the current is exceeded. Okay? The current is exceeded, so therefore we need to provide some small delay. So during this delay time, we can expect that, so the spikes, whatever there are, so those are come to steady state. Clear? Okay. So this is to avoid the turn off of this MOSFET, due to this turn on spikes in peak current control of this entire buck converter. Okay, clear? So we are using a peak current control, so therefore we can expect some turn on spikes. Okay, so these turn on spikes will accidentally turn off the MOSFET. To avoid that, we require some blanking time. So that is provided by using this blanking circuit. So that is extra, that is 150 to 250 so nanoseconds, right? So this is given to the SR flip-flop reset gate. So once it is exceeded that, the flip-flop is resetted, that and the MOSFET will be turned off. Clear? So next one. So this is the ground one, ground pin. So this entire circuit, the ground circuit for this entire circuit. So we have this RT pin. Okay. So we have this RT pin. So what is the purpose of this RT pin? The purpose of this RT pin. So this pin is to use it to set the PWM switching frequency. This pin is used to set the PWM switching frequency. So it will be operate in two different modes. So one is the constant frequency mode, and another one is constant T off mode. That means off period is kept constant. So one is enter T kept constant, another one is T off kept constant. Okay. So for example, if you want to keep this T as constant, so that's time period as constant. So for that case, so what we have to do is we need to connect this RT pin and this ground pin. So we need to connect this R to be constant. So for that case, you need to connect this RT pin to this ground, this gate. So this RT pin, so we need to connect to the gate. Right. So generally, if you are using a peak current control, so which method is preferred? So T will keep constant or T off time will be we keep constant.
The T.
Hmm?
The constant frequency mode will be preferred.
Constant. So which one we normally keep constant? Either T will be constant or which one will normally keep? So this is employed or so this one is better. In case if you are using a peak current control and if you assume that it is operating in continuous conduction mode.
So constant T mode is preferred.
No. So actually constant control, if you are using this T is constant, right? So the disadvantage, so with that is the instability. Okay. So when you are operating with duty cycles greater than 0.5, so there will be some instability in the controller. Right. So due to that, you might have studied that subharmonic oscillations will induce, right? You have studied that, right? Subharmonic oscillations will be induced in the controller. Okay. So how to prevent the subharmonic oscillations? So how you prevent that?
By doing the slope compensation.
Yeah, we need to add some external slope, right? We need to add some external, some artificial slope to the current sense waveform, right? So this slope will compensate, right? This slope will compensate, or this slope will improve the stability of this converter. Okay, so that is the drawback. So when you keep this T as constant, okay. So therefore, to avoid that, so normally we'll keep this off time as constant. We keep this off time as constant, right? But the disadvantage with this off time is the switching frequency is variable. So whereas in first case the switching frequency is constant, but in this case the switching frequency is variable. Okay, but here the current that what we are handling is very less when compared to the other applications like SMPS or any other DC-DC converter applications. So here this current is usually in milliamperes. So therefore we can sacrifice something, right? So that means whatever that higher the filtering means when the frequency is the switching frequency is not uniform, the design of the filter is a difficult thing. So therefore, so here we normally prefer this averaging. So it means we will calculate the maximum switching frequency and the minimum switching frequency. From that, so we will average that. So based on that average switching frequency, we'll design the filter. Yeah. So that is about selecting the oscillator. We already discussed that how to select the switching frequency or how to select that formula, we are already discussed that, right? So this RT, we need to connect some external resistance for this. So that resistance value is in kilo ohms, RT kilo ohms plus 22 by 25, or I think 25 by 22. I don't remember. Just cross check. I think 22 by 25 only. Okay. Right. RT kilo ohm plus 22 by 25. Okay. So next one is, this is the gate output. So this is the gate output. Okay. So normally it can operate in the range of normally 20 kilohertz to somewhere around 100 kilohertz is the average. Maybe it can operate with the higher frequencies. So generally, if you are connecting, if the MOSFET is having some internal capacitance, right? If this capacitance is 25 nanocapacitor, for example, this 25 right? So that is 25 nanofarads. So under that case, you need to operate less than 100 kilohertz, right? So if it is less than that, for example, if it is 15 nanofarad or something like that, is the capacitance. Under that case, you can actually operate for greater than 100 kilohertz. So maximum, that means it is usually 100 kilohertz. So that is the maximum, but typically it will give the best results corresponding to 100 kilohertz. So anyway, we are implementing this off time as a constant. So therefore, so we need to see this average frequency. So this average frequency is sometimes somewhere between this 100 kilohertz. So this one, this PWD. So here, not this AND gate is used, and after that some buffer is used. Okay. So this is PWMD. So this is used for dimming. So this is used for dimming. So the idea is very simple. So here the idea is very simple. So it is right. You want to dim that light or you want to decrease the light. So this is operating at high frequency train of waveforms, right? This is a high frequency pulses it is generating in normal case. So here if you want to dim that, so you need to actually give a low frequency waveform. For example, this is the waveform. So this is the waveform you have given. Clear? And this both are connected to the AND gate, right? So both are connected to the AND gate. So therefore this pulses or this actual pulses that is actually going, for example, if you connect AND gate to these two, right? So here this portion there is no pulses. So that means we have some gap here and we have some gap here, something like that. The pulse speed or this pulse number of pulses, it will be reduced. Okay. So this PW dimming can be achieved by driving this PWM pin with a low frequency square wave, right? Not square wave exactly, low frequency signal, right? So when the PWM signal is 0, the gate driver is turned off, right? When this PWM signal is 0, the gate is turned off. So when this signal or with this PWM dimming signal is turned on, so in that case only the gate driver is enabled. Okay. So this is how to use in dimming applications. So this is all about the different pins that we normally use in this. So next we will see so how to select these other passive components, how to select these other passive components. So let us consider some case. So I will follow whatever that given in the book to avoid confusion. So let us assume that this input voltage, right? So this voltage is 10 to 30 volts. Okay. So that is having some tolerance, that is 10 to 30 volts. And this LED string voltage, so that is the input voltage to this actual input voltage to this LED, or this voltage drop that appear across this LED. So that is 4 to 8 volts. So let us assume that, so this is a series string and this LED current. So this 3 milliamperes. right? 350 milliamperes. Is clear? So we need to find out this L1 value, right? This resistance R1 and this R2 value, and this capacitance, it is usually fixed that. So depending, this capacity is usually fixed. So no need to select this one. It may be 1 microfarad, 10 volts, or 2.2 microfarad, 10 volts. So that is normally preferred. Okay, and we need to fix the rating of this MOSFET, current and voltage rating of this MOSFET, and current and voltage rating of this diode. Okay, the current and voltage rating of this diode and MOSFETs. Right, that's it, right? And we need to see this input side filter. This is the input side filter. So whenever some ripple content in this filter or some high frequency switching or high frequency current in this, so that can be filtered out by using this capacitor. Okay. So the first and foremost thing is, so we need to fix up the frequency. So design this this L value, right? Or design this this parameters, like that is the current that flowing through this one is, what is the current that flowing through this is, you know the formula, right? If the current, if the rated current is I0, so what is the current that flows through this MOSFET? What is the average current that flows through this MOSFET? What is the current that flows through this MOSFET? These two will operate complementary, right? So that means this is dI0 and this one is 1 minus d into I0, right? Okay, so for that, so that means you need to identify the d first, that means the duty cycle first, and also we need to identify the switching frequency so that you can calculate the L value. Okay, so here the range is given. So we need to consider the worst cases. We need to consider the worst cases. So let us assume that the input is 10 volts. Okay, the input is 10 volts and the output is 8 volts. Okay, so that is the extreme case. The other extreme case is input is 30 volts and the output is 4 volts. It's clear? Right, so here the range is given. So we need to talk about the worst case scenarios. So let us assume that the input is low or the input is lowest and the output is the highest one, or the input is the highest one and the output is the lowest one. So that means 10, 8 volts, and value here, if you assume that the continuous conduction, what is the D range? If 10 volts is the input, 8 volts is the output. What is the D? Duty cycle in a buck converter.
0.8.
0.8, right? So what is the D value here? 0.133, I think. Yeah. Okay. So that means this is the range. The minimum value of this D is 0.133 and the maximum value of this D is 0.8. Okay, with this given input. Clear? It's clear. So let us assume that, so we are operating in this T of constant. So this T of constant. So let us consider this T of as 5 microseconds. Let us consider this T of as 5 microsecond. Right? So this D corresponding to this D equal to 0.8, corresponding to this D equal to 0.8. So what is the switching frequency? What is the switching frequency? So what is the switching frequency?
40 kilohertz.
40 kilohertz, right? 40 kilohertz. So that means this on time is 20 microseconds, right? So that means total time period is 25 microseconds. So corresponding that, so we have the time means we have the switching frequency is 40 kilohertz. So that means we are fixed this one. Right. So this is corresponding to D equal to 0.8. Similarly, D equal to 0.133. So what is the switching frequency? What is the switching frequency? So it will be roughly around 173.4. Yeah, 1 second. Yeah, 173.4 kilohertz. Okay, so what you understand that if you're fixing a off range of the switching range is 23.4 kilohertz. Maybe you can average roughly. You can average as that means roughly you can it is operating in the range of 100 kilohertz. Right. Yeah. So whenever you are designing a filter or EMA filter for that, so we normally consider this average of these two. So maybe you can approximately average this as a 100 kilohertz. Clear? Okay. So the fixing of this resistance or the fixing of these parameters is completed. So next thing is we need to choose this capacitor C1. Right. We need to choose this capacitor C1. So this is the input side capacitor, right? The main objective of this capacitor is to filter out this high frequency ripple currents or high frequency ripple currents. So that is generated in this DC input. So generally, we already discussed that. So electrolytic capacitors are not good choice because it's having a large ESR value. Okay, so whenever the CSR value is high, so we can expect some more losses and it will reduce the efficiency. So therefore, we normally prefer this polypropylene capacitors or the ceramic capacitors. Okay, polypropylene capacitors or ceramic capacitors. Okay, so you know one thing with this polypropylene capacitor is normally any device is having some component tolerances, right? So that means plus or minus 5% or plus or minus 10%. But this polypropylene capacitors, that variation is always positive. Okay, so there is no minus variation. It is always positive variation only. Okay, that means tolerance is always positive for that. Okay, just remember that. So for ceramic capacitors, we normally used. Okay, so here this C1, right? So this C1, so assume that there is a 5% variation in the input side. That means if you allow the 5% ripple content in the input side, so this can be calculated as, right, this is the I naught. So that means the total I naught current that is flowing in this, right? So that means I naught into off time by this variation 0.05, right? So this is corresponding to V minimum. Okay. So this gives you the maximum value. If you substitute this V maximum, so that gives you the minimum value. So we have to design for the worst case. So that means this is the value. So to substitute this I naught is 0. How much the current is? What is the current? We assumed 0.35 or 350 milliamperes, right? So this is 350 milliamperes. And this off time is this much. And we have this. And this V minimum, what is V minimum? I think 10. Yeah, this is 10, right? So this 10 volts. So for that, so you need to calculate this input side filter. So this
3.5
filter,
microfarad.
how much? How much?
3.5.
3.5. Okay. So 3.5 microfarad. So generally there is no such 3.5 microfarad. So the rating is available. The nearest value is 4.7 microfarad. Okay, so how to fix its voltage value? How to fix its voltage value? Capacitance having some voltage rating also, right? So how to fix that? So this is the input, right? The input is 10 volts to 30 volts. 10 volts to 30 volts. So this is the maximum one, right? So therefore, we need to fix on the maximum side. So that means the minimum voltage rating is 30 volts. And there is no such 30 volts capacitors are there. And the nearest value is 50 volts. So therefore, we need to select. So 4.7 microfarad, 50 volt capacitor. So this is 50 volt capacitor. Clear? It's clear. This how to filter. So normally either we'll use the simple filter or sometimes we'll use some small LCL kind of structure, right? Some LCL kind of structure to filter out this high frequency ripple content. Okay. So either use a single capacitor, or if you want, you require a high performance applications or something like this. In that case, we normally prefer this LCL kind of thing. Clear? So next one is choosing this value L1. So that means this inductor. So how to choose this inductor? So what is the prerequisite for that? Means what is the assumption you need to choose this inductor? The current ripple, right? Okay. I'm audible now.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes.
So where it went out?
So when you were telling about select the inductor value.
At what point?
So when you were telling how to select that L1 value.
Okay. Understand. Yeah. So this is the one, right? So this V naught equal to L into di by dt. So we are designing for the worst case thing. So let us assume that the 8, the change in the current is, this is 30% variation, right? So that's 0.3.
Sir, you are not audible.
So this 380 millihenry microhenry. Okay. So the standard
your
value
voice is-
is force.
Sir, your
Yes?
voice is breaking in between.
Voice is breaking actually. Now it is fine.
Yes, sir. Now
Yes,
it is
sir.
fine.
The nearest value for this is 470 microhenry. Okay. So 470 microhenry. So we normally select. So it's supposed to be 380 microhenry. So for 30% ripple, right? But you are connecting more than that. So that means the ripple content will be reduced. It may not be at this 15 to plus 15 to minus 15. So it may be less than that, maybe 12% to plus or minus 12% or something like that. My voice is audible now?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So what is its IP value or the peak current?
I've listened
What is the-
only up to the inductor value.
So this is 350, right? So that means this I naught. Okay. So this is 15% tolerance. So that means
Sir, it's not visible.
it's not visible.
Yes, sir. Yes, now it's there.
Okay. So that will be I naught into 1.15. Okay. So this 1.5 is from this 15%. What we say 15% tolerance. Okay. This is peak current. So this is roughly around I naught is 350. So that means it is 0.4, I think. It's clear. So this is how we write the this L1 value. So next thing is, so we need to select the value. What we select the value of this MOSFET ratings, voltage and current rating of this MOSFETs. Okay. Right. So what is the voltage rating? Well, how much voltage that MOSFET will experience? This is the input voltage. Right. So how much voltage it will experience? 30 volts, right? So that means this MOSFET will experience a voltage of 30 volts. Right. So this diode also will experience a voltage of 30. So here this MOSFET is supposed to rated for 30. So if you consider some factors, maybe 1.62, 1.62 times the 30. Okay, 1.62 times the 30. Let me consider, for example, 1.6 into 30, somewhere around 48 volts. That is the voltage rating of the MOSFET. So we have devices, so that are around 50 volts device are there. If you're considering this 2 as the after effect T, so that you will get 60 volts. So for that, you need to either select this 100 volts device, you need to select 100 volt device. Clear? So that is how we will select the MOSFET voltage rating. The current rating, to select the current rating, so what is the current that flows through the MOSFET? What is the current that flows through the MOSFET? So that is D into I naught, right? So that is the average current that flows through the MOSFET. So how much it is? What is the maximum value of this D is? The minimum value of D is 0.133. So if we consider the maximum value of this D, that is 0.8 into this I naught, that is 350 milliampere. So that means roughly it is 2.8, not 2.8, I think 0.28 amperes. 0.28 amperes. So that is the current, that is the average current that flows through the MOSFET. So you may be consider maybe 2 to 3 times, 2 to 3 times the current rating. So that means it is roughly around 0.7 amperes or 0.8 amperes, that in the range. Okay. So maybe you can select 1 ampere 50 volts MOSFET or 1 ampere 100 volt MOSFET you can select. Yeah. So that's how we will select the MOSFET rating. Similarly, come to this rating of this diode. So come to the rating of this diode. So this diode is having the voltage rating, both are same. So that means this 50 volts. The voltage is supposed to stop with this 1.62 times the peak supply voltage or this peak input voltage. So that's 50 voltage. So come to its current rate. Okay, the current rating is 1 minus D into I naught. 1 minus D into I naught. So that is the average current that flows through the diode. So what is the, which D we normally use? 0.8 we will use, or the 0.133 use. So which one is preferred in this case? Which is preferred? 0.8 we will use, or lower than that we will use? So what is the value we will prefer? The lower
So
one,
what
right? If
will-
you choose right, that means it gives you 0.2 into I naught. If you choose this lower one, right? So that gives you some worst case thing, right? Okay. So that means we have to choose this lower one. This is 0.13. So that means 0.87, 1 minus D into I naught. So that is 0.350. So that means this is roughly 0.3 amperes. This current is 0.3 amperes. Okay. So if you are using some factor 3 or 2, right? So that means the next one is 1 ampere. So you can choose 50 volts or 60 volts, 1 ampere diode. So what kind of diode we need to prefer? What kind of diode we need to prefer? So it must be, it is operating it complementary with this MOSFET, right? So here it's supposed to operate at the same frequency. For example, this is operated at 170 kilohertz frequency. This diode is also operated at the same frequency because these two are complementary. So for that, you require a fast recovery diode is normally preferred. In most of the case, we normally use the Schottky diode. The Schottky diode is preferred because the reverse recovery time for the Schottky diode is almost negligible, because this diode is made with metal. Right, the diode is made with semiconductor and the metal. Okay. Normally diodes made with semiconductor and semiconductor junction, right? But the Schottky diode is made with the metal and the semiconductor. So that means there is no reverse recovery current that need to charge the some bands in the diode. Okay, so that means practically there is no reverse recovery time, and they're very fast. And moreover, the rating is also very small. When you try to increase the rating of the Schottky diode, the leakage current will be high. In other words, the voltage drop will be high. So therefore, the rating of the Schottky diodes is in the range of 100 volts or 200 volts maximum, so that are available. So this is about the selection of this diode and MOSFET. Okay. So next, we need to choose the sense resistor. Okay, we need to choose the sense resistor, right? Or this current sense resistor. We already said that the drop across this current sense resistor must be 0.25 volts, right? That must be that is the drop. Okay. If this is drop, the current that flowing is I naught, right? The current that flowing is I naught. And that flowing is I naught maximum. That is the maximum current that flow in this one, right? So what is I naught maximum? So this 0.25 volts into, in this case, 1.15 into I naught. Okay. So that is the value of sense resistor you need to connect. So that means this resistor value, R2 resistor value. It's clear? So again, the nearest value for need to set. So for example, we already said that there are two presets for this, right? So one is this 250 millivolts preset, or some external preset you need to give. For example, if you are giving us some external preset of this for example, 0.2 volts only, okay? So instead of this 0.25 volts, you need to replace with this 0.2 volts here, okay? Got it, right? This current sense having two voltage levels, either the external one that you give or the internally one that is 0.25 volts. Okay, if you are given to the external one, you need to divide with, that means some this O external, so that divide by this I naught maximum. Right. If nothing is there, so in that case it is 0.25 volts. That is internally generated 0.25 volts. So based on that, so this R2 value will be generated. It's clear? I think we are completed all this. And again, R1, selecting this one already done, right? Select R1. So what formula? R external plus 22 by 25. So that is the formula. Based on that, so we need to select this resistance corresponding to 5 microfarad, corresponding to 5 microsecond. You need to select that. So this is about the design of all components. So one thing that's missing is, so this is for DC. Okay, this is for DC, right? In case of AC, right? In case of AC, so what is the difference is you require some additional this diode bridge rectifier. With this diode bridge rectifier, you required all the parameters, whatever we are discussing, the design procedure is entirely same. The design procedure is entirely same. The additional thing, right? The additional thing is we need to consider the rating of this diode bridges. The rating of this diode bridges. If this is the diode bridge, okay. So how much voltage it's supposed to, right? How much voltage is supposed to withstand? So that is the peak AC voltage, right? The peak AC voltage. So in this case, this is 230 into √2. It must be withstand. This diode must be withstand 230 into √2. So that is the maximum blocking voltage. Maybe select 1 kV device. Okay, approximately you can select a 1 kV device. The current rating and rest of all the ratings all remain same, or the design of this this one and this one. So everything is remain same. So only the difference is you are given this rectified output, right? So that means the rectified output may be larger than that. So what is the formula? It will be 2 Vm by pi. It will vary from 0 to 2 Vm by pi, or depending on the which kind of rectifier we normally use. Okay. So that means we have to design from 0 to, so when there is no load is connected, we already discussed that the capacitor is charged to the peak of the supply voltage. So that means it's 230 to √2. Okay, the range of this output voltage when you have this capacitor coupling, or when you have this capacitor filter, so that range is 0 to 230 into √2. Okay. It's clear? Rest of the things you can study. Okay. So next one is the dimming application. We'll discuss briefly in 5 minutes. Yeah, this is for dimming circuit. Okay, so this is used for dimming applications. Okay. There are different ways to apply this dimming. So for dimming application, you need to reduce the voltage. So this is by using a triac, we are reducing the current that flows through the voltage that appear across the LED. So to control this triac, we normally require a diac, right? To control the triac, you require a diac. So this is diac here, and this is triac. The circuit is same. This is for PWM dimming, or this phase dimming applications. So you know that this dimming is very common, right? So this dimming is very common, right? Have you ever noticed that in your mobiles? So how this brightness is reduced? So how the brightness is reduced? By using this dimming only, this brightness is reduced. Okay. So how it is actually working is, for example, if you have 100% brightness to the lowest 1% or 2%, right? So that may be 2%, or it can't be 0, maybe 2%. So it's corresponding to 100%. Generally, two types of dimmings is used in mobile phones or any display device. So one is the PWM dimming, and another one is DC dimming. Okay. PWM dimming and DC dimming. So normally this DC dimming used in early days, so that is used in LCD screens. So you know that screens are two different types, right? So one is LCD and LED screens. So LCD screens that requires some backlighting. So generally LCD screens are backlighted with LED. LCD screens are backlighted with LED. So in case of this DC dimming, so what we have to do is either we'll change this voltage or current, so that gives you the power, right? So the power input to this LED is changed, but like reduce the screen. In case this LED, so we now use this PWM dimming. In case this is, for example, 100%, so corresponding to this 100%, so this is the pulse they normally give. In case of this 50%, so the pulse is reduced like this. In case of 25%, the pulse is, or the pulse to the display device, it will be like this. So generally these will operate in the range of 150 Hz to 500 Hz range. Okay. This will operate in the 150 Hz to 500, it's not kilohertz, it is 250 Hz, sorry, 250 Hz to 500 Hz range. So this is corresponding to 100%. So this is corresponding to 50%, and this is corresponding to 25% of the brightness, right? So this is PWM dimming. So the disadvantage with this PWM dimming, so you can easily notice that, so when you're operating your mobile at low brightness, right, you can see some flickering. Okay, I think you have noticed that, especially when you're operating in low ambient light conditions. So you can observe that when you try to operate at low frequency, low brightness, you can see some flickering. Okay, so when your eyes are sensitive to that, or when you're using for a longer period, so what will happen? You will cause some headache or some nausea or something like some adverse effect or some eye strain. So all these are the disadvantages of that PWM dimming. Okay, so this is especially visible from 50% brightness on, less than 50% brightness onwards. Okay, this is visible in LED screens and less than 50% brightness onward. We have two or change the current to the channel. Okay, either we'll reduce the base so that the brightness will be reduced, or they will increase the they'll reduce the current so that the brightness is reduced. Okay, so this is how DC dimming is working. So in DC dimming there is no flickering, even you are operating at low brightnesses, so there is no visible flickering. But the disadvantage with the DC dimming is, so when you are operating at low some dimming, the advantage is it will be flicker free. Okay. To address all these problems when you're operating with low voltage, low brightness, so now what they are using is this, you're aware this, right? Refresh rates. You're aware this refresh rates? Nowadays screens are coming with different refresh rates, right? So earlier they have this 60 Hz refresh rates. So after that we have this on 90 Hz refresh rates, this 120 refresh rates. So meaning is that for example 120, the image is changed by 120 times. So that means when you're scrolling, so you easily see the differences. When you're scrolling, you can easily see the differences. That means the scrolling will be smoother. Okay.
Sir,
Yeah, it's over.
sir, your voice is breaking, sir, actually. We didn't hear DC dimming.
Yes, sir.
So now it is audible,
Break.
but it's breaking.
Still it is
Actually, I
breaking sometimes.
connected by using my mobile hotspot. Okay. So that is the drawback with this one. Again, when you're increasing the refresh rate, the battery will be reduced. Okay, the battery will be reduced. Again, for that, so they are changing that. So the variable refresh rates. So that means the screen is changing its refresh rate from
So it's still breaking.
PO screens, LTPO LED screens, where the refresh rate is continuously changing. Okay, so these details are not generally required. So as I'm getting time, I'm sharing these. Any questions? Have any questions?
So can you repeat the problem of the DC dimming?
The problem of DC dimming is
Like the disadvantages you share.
means what images are there, right? So images are the, if you are aware of that, right? So different images. So one is the commonly used is so RGB. So that is one of the display techniques. One is RGB and one is the DCI. DCI-P, I think DCI-P 100%, or we have different imaging techniques are there, right? So that means the color rendering, it still changes. The maybe the colors are oversaturated or the colors are undersaturated. So that is the problem with DC dimming. So whatever that exact color is there, right? The exact color, it is having some exact color, right? Yeah, that is natural color. When it is operated, so that's why they are increasing its refresh rates, so that the waveform means so that the image will be smooth, and moreover it will be what we say, flicker free. So you have any questions?